Hi, I'm Nid, business consultant for Spirit Law, specialising in wellnesspreneurs and creatives getting online, and also a wellness teacher myself online for the last few years with a background as a commercial tech and media lawyer. I'm doing a couple of videos to help some of you with getting online, and today we're just going to have a little look at how to create a safe space for yourself. Because we can't hold a safe space for others if we're feeling a little bit overwhelmed and out of sorts ourselves, because people pick up on it, right? So the first thing we're just going to touch on obviously are the keys of self-care, which hopefully you as a wellness teacher may know yourself. But those would be approaching yourself with a lot of compassion. You are probably learning something new at this time, and that means that you are going through that horrific learning curve of confronting skills that perhaps you've avoided or never really developed in your life. Hopefully a lot of these tips will be familiar to you by now, but the first one that I would always suggest is earthing or grounding. So your head's probably somewhere all exploding up here, and maybe not in a way that spiritually you quite enjoy. So taking that time to ensure that your practices really help you get back into your body, slow down and calm down. Even when we're feeling super stressed, faced with technology, we need to make sure that we're coming back into our body and not letting all of that stress get stuck up here, but that we're really letting it all get down into the earth. However it is that you enjoy getting out to ground yourself is the best way forward, whether that's being in nature, talking to people, maybe cooking or gardening. But we want to make sure that as teachers ourselves, we've got the time to really earth, especially because being on technology is very ungrounding, and also learning technology can be even more disorienting. So allow yourself the time to do extra grounding activities, and a large part of that I often find is creating your own routine and allowing sufficient break time to let yourself just allow things to digest. Remember that learning technology is a game of patience. So technology does require quite a specific skill set, and that skill set is quite a logical and rational approach to problem solving. It's a real, you take one step, you take the next step. The second step doesn't work, you go back to the beginning and you take the next alternative step. And it's a bit like if you say step 1 and then there's step 2A, step 2B, step 2C. And if 1, 2A doesn't work, you go back 1, 2B, 1, 2C. And then it goes into 3A, 2C to 3B, right? And it might be that you have to go back to 2A to work out what happened with 3A. So it takes time, and it often takes playful kind of exploration. So if that's not a way that you're used to working, you need to allow yourself some spare time to take lots of breaks and keep yourself a bit sane. Think of it like a child learning to walk, and how they are super enthusiastic and keen, but they also fall over and hurt themselves, and sometimes they need to sit for a little while before they try again. And allow yourself that process. It is logical. There are lots of videos on YouTube that can help you with your specific tech and the solutions that you're looking for, but play with things. Try out the different solutions, different cameras, different ways of working. This is an amazing opportunity to play with the models that may work for you, and different technology may help you discover what models work best for you. So try not to have a fixed idea in mind of what you're trying to achieve. And then also keep it super simple. Less is always more. So the less tech that you can get into, the better your life's going to be. However, saying that, there will be some key things that you probably notice will be really beneficial to you. So if you are off of a really old laptop, or you've only got your phone and the cameras aren't very good, you might want to buy a webcam to help you with being able to move your camera around your space and help you create those different levels that you're looking for. You could also look at getting an extra camera. I use 2 different types of Canons that I've collected over the years, as well as a GoPro sometimes to do little videos. I also have my computer and my phone camera should I really desperately need that for doing other kinds of video. So those are the different technologies that I've played with over time, and things have fallen in and out of favour with me as to my mood, and I don't think that it's a good idea to be too fixed. Obviously the tech costs money, which is why I'm also saying maybe start cheap, play with it, get a sense, and if it's something that's worthy of your investment, then you buy the more expensive version of the technology. So on top of having to get to know the tech and taking lots of breaks, you need to practice with it. And that is a really good idea to ask friends and family to help you with the practice and give you feedback as to how it goes, but also just talking to yourself, having Zoom calls with yourself and then listening to the video and seeing what it's like afterwards will give you an idea of what your Zoom teaching looks like. Try to have some compassion with what you look like if you're not used to seeing yourself in lots of videos. You may not be a TV celebrity quite yet. That might take a bit of practice. When it comes to your physical space, obviously if you can have a dedicated space, that's a wonderful gift and a real treat to have. But try and have a system of at least getting your space ready and allow yourself time to set it up before you're going to do your teaching or your videoing, and settle into that space and really ground into it before you begin the recording of your session or your live class. To that end, I often recommend at least 15 minutes of time to yourself before and maybe even after to really just digest that experience from being online to being back in the room yourself, and also just really enjoying your own physical space as much as possible. When it comes to teaching online, there's a few things that are going to have to happen. So the first one is slowing down your classes and pacing your teaching. You're going to really need to work your audio cueing, and audio cueing often requires a slightly slower rate of speech. People take a little longer often to absorb audio content, and so we want to slow down what we're asking them to do, give a visual, maybe they can or can't see it too well, and maybe you need to repeat yourself. And to that extent, you might find yourself repeating exercises, doing more repetitions in longer holds than you may do in a Greek class format. That also means that you need to think about how you're going to develop your eye to teach online. You're only able to look at a client from one angle, and so you might not be able to get the kind of biomechanical and anatomical assessments that you're used to in a class. So you need to really be using your anatomy and your physics, your biomechanics, to really assess what you can see in a video. And that does take a well-trained eye. So if you're quite new to teaching, that might be something that you still find quite hard to see, especially when the pictures are quite small on your laptop or your phone. But it's definitely worth training that eye, because it will help you with seeing things from a distance, and also probably being able to assess what your client is doing or multiple clients are doing from a distance whilst you're doing it at the same time. So there's a lot of multi-level teaching skills that start happening when you're online that require a little bit more left-right brain balance in your teaching skills. And to that end, generally you'll find that cues become perhaps a little bit more generic in live group classes, rather than being too specific and calling people out, because you can't go up and quietly say in someone's ear, oh, can you do this in terms of your technique? You might be doing a lot more physically yourself, so maybe you find that teaching 20 hours a week online is suddenly a lot more physically on your body, and be mindful of any injuries that could come from teaching so much online. So choose modifications, demonstrate modifications to take care of your own body, and ensure that you're balancing whatever it is that you're teaching with other methods of your own self-care and physical wellness. And that may mean that you find some of your classes become less challenging than they are maybe in the studio when you're doing lots of verbal cueing, or maybe if you're a bit like me, you get really excited and suddenly your clients are having to work a lot harder because you're really enjoying the workout yourself. So just be mindful of that one. You may find that your projection of your voice is the other thing that you need to consider. So obviously one thing is the physical space and how reflective the sound is around you, but the other one is going to be what your vocal training is. I've had barrister training and have done a lot of hours of standing and giving public speaking training and exercises over the years. And so I'm quite good at projecting and know how to use my diaphragm in order to make myself heard. But maybe that's not your voice. And to that end, drink lots of water because you're going to be talking a lot more than maybe you're used to talking when you're teaching. Keep your voice and your vocal cords lubricated really, really well. And if you need to, get a Bluetooth adapter or a radio mic so that you can save your voice and be heard really clearly. In that case, you need to be buying a Bluetooth headset. I really love Rode, R-O-D-E, for their quality of products. That is possibly a bit of a big jump for some people. So there are slightly cheaper versions, like with JBL, for Bluetooth headsets that you could buy. Do be aware, the cheaper the headset, the more muffled you're going to sound, especially if you're doing it over Zoom. That's going to really impact your recording quality and how your clients can hear you. So talking about those technology bits, I also thought it would be worth just having a quick look at some of the things that you can use. Loads of people will tell you about really fancy lighting systems or great cameras and other toys that you might want to use. I personally just really like a good old-fashioned light with a light bulb to start with. So I'm going to turn this around so you can see what it is that I use. But mine was a 10 Aussie dollar light from Bunnings. And that's it. I chose a white light bulb, but I could have bought a yellow tinted one if that's the lighting I liked. But given how beautiful and light my room is and the kind of white light that comes in here, I would rather have a white light. I also have some other uplighters and downlighters to help create different kind of light, and I move the lights around my room according to where I need it at the time of day as the light comes through the windows. I also sometimes use a microphone, mostly for my audio recordings. So I don't tend to find I need it when I'm doing a video, but you might find you do. And I use a Zoom H1N, and this is a omnidirectional mic. You can see the way it crosses over, means that it's gonna focus the microphone recording into where I speak to when I do my audio recordings. Now, when I'm teaching movement, and I have used this in the past, especially when I'm in a noisy environment, say like retreat centers where there's lots of crazy jungle sounds, I then find that it's better to have a lapel mic, and that just plugs straight into the Zoom recorder. The lapel mic then can stick onto my clothes, and I can just then be using that at the right time, and it will hear me, and I just plug the rest of my recorder into a pocket. Now, that's a relatively affordable way of getting a mic. The Zoom H1 is a really nice affordable mic, and the lapel by Rode again, the can you see it? RODE is a really good quality. There's also the Rode Wireless Go, which is a really good quality radio mic, which you can plug in, and it's super small, and it comes under $200 US, which is an amazing price for a small radio mic. And that's definitely, if you're looking for quality, the kind of thing that you want to be looking to invest in. That will take a little bit more setup than my plug and go approach, pretty much. And that's why I also often recommend this, because it's super easy. But as you can see, it's kind of a bit bulky to put down my bra or to stick in my leggings. And therefore you've got to think about that when you're rolling around teaching a class. But also, this is not a radio mic, being the other key thing to note. So if I'm thinking about using it for a live class, this isn't going to cut the mustard. This is for pre-recorded content, of which I'm not using it right now, clearly. I also have some spare little cameras, like a GoPro, which gives you some really cute little angles if you want it. Or you can have a bigger camera on a tripod. I don't need to go too much into the tech. A lot of this is something for you to find your way as to what model of sharing your teaching is going to work best for you. So really what's important if you're new to teaching online is working out what you like to deliver. Is it pre-recorded? Is it going to be live? If it's pre-recorded, where are you going to share it? If it's live, how are you wanting to deliver it? And then from there, you decide what tech's going to support you best and how much time you need to play and practice with those bits of tech. And to that end, before you get into teaching a class, allow yourself a seriously good amount of time to do tech setup and allow for things to go wrong. I would say at least 15-minute buffer time before your class, and also afterwards if you are going to be doing any kind of work like downloading video files and uploading them. If you're editing, obviously you're going to need a lot more time to edit and deal with learning the software. So again, that comes with a whole new host of learning experiences. I hope that gives you some idea of playing with the tech and how playful and fun it can be, and how once you take that slightly more creative approach to discovering technology, you'll start to feel a little bit more grounded and a little bit more capable of holding a safe space when it comes to your live class or your pre-recorded classes. Take your time, practice the cueing, slow it down, and just in general, slow down. Try not to rush this process. Enjoy the creativity, the discovery, and perhaps if you're going slowly, you might find that there's a whole new host of options that open up for you and a new set of gifts and skill sets that you got inside you that you didn't know existed before. If you enjoy the videos, please share them and let me know any more of your questions regarding how to get yourself online and some of the safety setup, technical, legally, regulatory, just all of it, just a bit overwhelming. But it's about finding what's right in your heart so that you can be your shining best self. Thank you.